everyone. Welcome back to the Off Court Podcast, episode 18.
Let's
go, baby. The paddle podcast covering all your paddle needs. As you know, we are your hosts. My name is Hugh. This is Connor. As always, thank you for tuning in wherever you're doing that from. YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, whatever
Mars,
your platform is.
Neptune.
All of them
all
are
over
valid,
the universe.
and we appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. Today, we are diving into possibly one of the best tournaments, I was going to say so far, definitely, but also in the entire year, year after year. The Italy Major, the Rome Major keeps delivering.
It's stunning, honestly.
It's incredible.
One of my favorite tournaments. I think I realized that last year as well. I was just like, this tournament is incredible. Like, visually, the crowd turnout, even the quality of the courts and whatever.
The venue.
Yeah,
so
everything
spicy.
just went smoothly. I think after this, this year we had a rocky start. To get a tournament that goes smoothly, no issues, brilliant vibes.
Yeah.
We kind of got it.
Very hot, but
some
updates on that as well that we'll get into in a couple minutes. But yeah, I mean, before that, let's do our little icebreaker. Connor, how are you? How's paddle life going?
Amazing. I'm playing so much paddle at the moment.
Yes,
I had my old doubles partner come and visit London. I played with my
Simon
new
Edmondson.
Shout out Si. I think we did a great little run-in. And
Yeah, I saw. I actually rocked up to Rocks Lane.
Oh yeah.
Just 15 minutes before my match to warm up, and you and Simon were playing on the same court as I was going to play, so I caught your last 10
Did you
minutes.
see
of
me?
that
I
game.
think when you arrived, I pulled a cool shot actually.
Yeah. No, you
Little at the net flick.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen you play in a while, but yeah, man, you're definitely getting better, getting
flying.
like your positioning and stuff.
Yeah.
All the like off the glass shots, you've got it covered, man.
Always in no man's land, dude. Always, like, that's what I say. You got to stand right in the middle of the court, dude. So if they hit those balls at your feet, you're fucked.
Yeah.
Like, I love that. Like, always feeling like you have no idea where to go. Switching constantly as well. Keeping your opponents on their toes constantly with the weirdest strategies. Fuck, man. No, it feels good. It feels honestly amazing.
Yeah.
I also had a great time. Also had a bad time on the court as well.
Please tell us.
I don't know if you guys have this thing, but I don't know. We should come up with a phrase for it. But it's like you do your hour-long slot. Normally an hour and a half would be nice. But you have this like craving for more paddle.
You could play all day, right?
No.
If cardio.
If I had like
and athleticism wasn't a thing, I feel like
True.
everyone could play. Just
if I had Juan LeBron's body, I don't know if you saw his fucking thirst trap he posted, dude. This guy's ripped. Actually,
He is ripped.
I don't know why this in my
he
mind.
was rocking the no sleeves
Dude,
as well, man.
He looks like he got like AI body brush or whatever or something like that. I was like, fuck,
like a
dude.
filter.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a weird like flesh shoot or something like that. But no, I had the opposite of that where it was one of the hottest days in London so far. We're edging towards summer. Now we can find a new thing to complain about because if it's not dry and hot, it's too hot now. And yeah, I hit a moment where I hit a fucking wall, man. It was actually insane.
Brutal.
Yeah, it's brutal. Playing outside in the sun. We did two games back to back. I think that was the mistake, I guess. But yeah, I learned my lesson, or I learned my limits at least, because in the last half an hour of our second game, I had to apologize to Dan, my doubles partner, because I was like, dude, I am not conscious right now, dude. I'm like dying at the back of the court. I'm like wiping sweat off my eyes and feeling like that delay happens like 5 days later, and I'm just like, I have no idea. I'm just like not present right now. I feel like I've got like cement in my shoes.
It's crazy. It happened to me like a month ago, where it was also a really, really hot day.
It's fun,
and
dude.
I completely underestimated it. I was like, oh, it's nice, it's sunny, it's gonna be a good match, a good day to play paddle. 3 games in, it's the sun is beating down on you, and I get these like. I am also interested to hear like if any of you guys play in like really hot countries, any of our fellow South Africans,
exactly,
or I guess UAE people, you can only play indoors really, and most clubs are going to be indoors. But if you've got like some crazy,
they got like snow machines indoors there.
If you've got some crazy heat stroke paddle experiences, please let us know how you deal with them, because I get like tingles in the back of my neck.
Yeah, dude.
My stomach feels funny. I feel like I'm gonna pass out.
Correct me if you're wrong. You strike me as a guy that doesn't come with like a bottle of water to the paddle.
Sometimes I forget it, but I did. And I do. Even if I was drinking every odd game, I was stopping for a drink. I was literally putting my head under the sink in the changing rooms to like get as much cold water on me as I could just to cool off, and it's impossible.
I don't know what it is, because when we play in like colder conditions here, like you can keep going. You know, we're playing at like 10, 11 degrees Celsius, but we're in shorts and t-shirt type of thing. Even maybe colder sometimes. But now when it's like 27 degrees, it's like intense a little bit.
Same as in Italy. Now we know how Paquito feels like in Dubai. Now we know what the pros experience.
Yeah, exactly, basically. Man. Inhumane conditions, bro. Our 20-minute long sets.
But I was just saying to Connor before, like, imagine this. Yes, they are professional athletes. Their physicality, athleticism, cardio is 100 times better than ours. But a human body is a human body. Imagine playing at 10 times the intensity we're playing under that heat with points that last a minute and a half, way longer, so much more demanding physically, mentally, and having to play with like 30-degree weather, as they did in Italy, to be fair.
I don't know how they do it, man. I'll be honest. Like, I don't know what preparations they take. I don't know if they're like, I think it was like Mike Yanguas when they were playing against Guerrero and Leal. And he had this weird tub of salts and stuff like that. So you kind of see them bring out their like tactics or, whatever their physio recommends, their little special juice or water or whatever to mix it up just to keep them going. Yeah. So props to them for that, because after an hour and a half, I was absolutely flatlined. And I've never looked at my watch. I was like, when is this game going to end, man? Because I think I'm about to pass out now. But yeah, we'll find our limits. And
if you guys have any experiences like that, please let us know.
Stay hydrated.
How you deal with them.
Yes.
And how you overcame them. But we're getting sidetracked here. Let's jump right into this Italy major, the second major of the season after Qatar.
Yes, exactly. Qatar
after
major.
The Qatar major, and then we've still got the Roland Garros, the Paris major,
which is going to be sick
and
as well.
We've got the Monterrey, Mexico major.
Exactly.
We've got 2 out of 4.
In my head, I was like, surely there's a major in Mexico. Yeah.
That's the 4th one.
That feels right.
Let's get into first like some highlights, things that happened.
Here's the breakdown.
The breakdown before we get into the finals and everything.
Which was an insane finals, by the way. We loved it.
I'm very happy.
Yeah, exactly. We got everything.
We've got 3 injuries that were picked up in this tournament. We've got Valentino Libac, who can't seem to catch a break, this poor guy.
It's gone downhill so much for him, hasn't it?
He's got like a back, like seems serious vertebrae injury, which doesn't sound good at all. And he's out until I think the end of the summer or something.
Do you think he's pulling a sickie, man? He's like, fuck, playing with Garrido, bro. I think I pulled something in my back, bro.
Oh, Valladolid.
I think you have to play with. I think Tolito's looking for a new partner or something like that, man. I'm done. I'm done playing.
I don't know, but poor
it's
guy.
A shame.
I mean, it's a shame. We've also got Dineno, who rolled his ankle pretty badly.
I know. If we can flash a photo of it, we'll get Dineno feed pics on
our podcast. He had like a paddle ball stuck inside his ankle. It was pretty big.
But he continued to play on it, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, there was 2. I mean, it was 4-2 down on the second set. Right. They lost the first one. They lost the first one 7-6. Right, and then the second one, they were down 4-2. That's when the injury happened. He was on the floor for like a few minutes. Physio came. There was like a hiatus of like 10-15 minutes before they continued playing, and then
that's such a bad idea to continue.
Guerrero Leal took it with like 2 games that were left. I
mean, I was hyped for them. We'll chat about them as well. But
that's our second injury, and then we've got the French -- player Thomas Ligue. Maybe, I don't know if that's how you pronounce it.
Yeah, we gotta get our like resident French
pronunciation. Any French listeners, if you can correct us, that'd be great. Who suffered a near total rupture on his Achilles tendon, which sounds like a pretty disgusting injury to get.
He's going to have surgery, I think. You got to get operated on and everything like that. So that's a bummer for the French #1, for the French fans out there. Unfortunately, your #1 player's out for a while now. So
wishing all the best to these 3 players. Hopefully they can get back on the court soon.
Exactly.
What else do we have, Connor?
We got Tolito, Garrido, a new pairing, guys.
Due to Libac's injury, correct?
Yes. Yep. Well, we can blame it on Libac's injury, but to be honest, their last few tournaments that Garrido and Libac played in it's been a bad run.
It's
like
been
really,
terrible.
really
bad.
Add on Dineno, Garrido as well, and like that not working out, and Dineno moving on to Theo, who's also that just seems like a much better partnership. Yeah. We did feel really bad for Libac, right? And there was a few moments where he was just like they're getting knocked out around 32 type of thing. So it wasn't promising. Lebag came out with an injury. At the same time, Tolito and Gonza also have sort of parted ways in their sort of legendary.
After
the
a
magicians,
really long run.
Yeah, I mean, look, they had such a great run, and I think they're if you want to call them brave for entering into like Premier Padel this year. Yeah. And having their own individual moments. One during like a boycott tournament, we'll give them that, but.
I mean, they went up in rankings crazy this season because of that, which helped them a lot. They were
juicing up a little bit.
They came from dominating A1 Padel in 2024, winning 11 out of 16 or 17 tournaments, something crazy like that. Made their jump to Premier Padel. Obviously, it was going to be a lot more competitive and difficult for them. Yeah. But, they did what they could.
So what's our feelings now with Tolito and Garrido? How's that going to play out?
I mean, I don't know. To be honest, I don't know anymore.
Good,
I don't think it's a great matchup, to be honest.
No.
I think obviously Tolito benefits a lot from this. I think Garrido being quite a much better player than Alfonso.
Yeah.
In my opinion, to be honest. And also Alfonso, because of this rupture between Tolito and Gonza.
Right, okay.
Gonza Alfonso is now going to be playing with Sanyo Gutierrez.
Yes.
The legend.
Yes.
Who I don't think's got a lot more left in him. He's already...
This feels nearing,
This feels like maybe his last season, I think. We'll see. But yeah, we've got these two new pairings to look forward to, see what they can do.
I'm not too confident in them. I think it kind of feels like the leftovers club a little bit, and or musical chairs and who's left standing. Yeah. Maybe I think it's pretty harsh actually, but maybe Garrido's just like, all right, let's ride off this whole season, man.
Yeah,
because
I mean, we saw it with Teo last season, right? Where it can happen where you just have a bad one and you go from being at the top when he was playing with Yanguas. He was. They beat Lebron and Galán in 2024 before all the shit went down.
The fallout,
they were top 8 pairs, and Garrido was there, and now he's just going down. Maybe this is a bit of like a trial season or like a hiatus season for him, and maybe he can come back stronger.
Yeah, I mean, Garrido as an individual as well kind of also deals with his like mental battles as well, I guess, if you want to call it that, where he just drops off very, very. He goes hot and cold, and cold, and his consistency isn't really there. So, we didn't really see anything shine from Lebag. So maybe now they're just having fun and they're just going to pull a bunch of trick shots.
We'll see
for the rest of the season. And for Sanyo and Alfonso, I don't know. That's another weird one as well, man. But it's a filler one. But they're here anyway. Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of the latest pairings. I think. I don't think there's any others. But
no.
We'll figure it out anyway. But yeah, we also wanted to take a moment as well and just appreciate the stadium.
The venue, El Foro Italico, which
I think up there. I think if you rank the most beautiful, tournaments or venues, it's got to be up there. It's this Colosseum built by who? Why does it exist? Actually,
it's like, Mussolini, the dictator from the 30s, with the. We're gonna get we're doing a historical podcast here, but I just find it interesting. With the rise of fascism in the 30s, he built this entire sport complex in Rome built by this dictator, which is now being used for paddle, but just like a little...
Mussolini walked so Premier Paddle could run, man.
Dude, just a little extra...
Yeah, for you historians out there that want to know why this beautiful place exists, you can thank Mussolini for that.
Exactly. So. But yeah, I mean, it is beautiful. I think the way it's designed,
it's great,
Colosseum
man.
Style, it's like a hole in the ground. I feel like, I don't know, I haven't been there. It just gave me the feeling that the audience experience is peak there. As in you can, wherever you're sat feels like a really good spot to watch.
Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? Yeah.
The game.
It's like you're watching gladiators fight on
it feels like
it's
just really well organized. Yeah. Really efficient building of the
I mean,
courts,
off the top of your head, no pressure, but if you could rank your 3 venues, I know we're only halfway, but you can dip into the ones that haven't happened yet.
I would say, from this season or just in general?
Just in general, something that you're anticipating as well.
Just in general?
Yeah.
I really I think top 1 has to be Italy Major.
Yeah. Especially right now.
And then I'm going to give
Rome fever.
I'm going to give Brussels a shout. I think Brussels
was beautiful as well.
It's just cute and nice, and it feels like it's well organized, and I like the color of the courts where they're black.
Yeah, that's also
true. I like the crowd turnout. I think it's good. And then I think what else?
We're gonna get in trouble if we don't mention Buenos Aires because they had like a 16. Yeah, but without the shit.
I think any tournament in Argentina
is gonna be fucking
just for the vibes and the I guess history behind it.
Yeah.
And the Argentinian crowd.
Yeah.
I think we just have to shout that out as well.
Yeah.
Well,
I'll give you that.
For you, have you got?
I mean, I've always been a fan of Brussels as well. Crowd turnout, Rotterdam also goes pretty hard too. Like they know how to turn up in like Amsterdam. Oh no, Amsterdam in the Netherlands. You know what? Just because I don't know, I want to say different answers to you a little bit as well. I'm not gonna add. Oh, now I've switched. I'm like, these are the worst ones, which we have to get rid of from the calendar. But you know what? I'll put Dubai on there as well, just because for those that don't know, I grew up there, even though I don't have a huge sentimental attachment. Disclaimer. But I think it's sick. I think it's a great tournament. Yeah. They play. I think they have an opportunity to play in a better venue in Dubai, but where they play there is a great turnout as well. Yeah. And plus from last year as well, they had that organization on setting up a new court pretty fast. So I'll give them that. And then
the Saudis know how to do it.
Yeah, I mean, yes, except when it rains, I think, and then they're just like, what the hell is falling from the sky? Like,
what?
Yeah,
what?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I kind of share them with you. I think despite Buenos Aires' sort of antics last tournament, it's still amazing that 16,000 people were there. So
before we move on, I just wanted to add, not because of the venue, because it's not a venue specific thing, but I don't know if you noticed or if you guys noticed, they've now added, because they were playing in Italy outdoors. Italy's like super hot right now. They were in the 30s. They've added I think it's called the heat protocol, where players can now take a mini rest on even games, not just when they go to the benches, but if it's like 1-1 or 2-2, they can still go for a quick drink.
Right, okay.
Not like any tactical, but just like a tiny minute so that they don't fucking die. Basically. Which is a good, sports progressing forward.
You're like, we'll give you guys 60 seconds.
They listen to the players, which is, I think, a good thing to do. Next we've got, probably one of the best highlights of this tournament is we saw this new pairing. New in Premier Padel, professionally speaking, but Guerrero Leal making their mark.
Yeah, it was. The emotions were high, right?
Yeah. We saw when they got to semis how much it meant to them, right?
Yeah, no, winning that quarters against why is my mind blanking?
Coqui
Yanguas, man. Yeah, come on, you're against Coqui Yanguas.
Yeah,
I think Leal's energy, his presence on the court, you could really feel the emotions ride high for them, and even just getting to the quarters, let alone semis, was like a huge moment for them. We saw that moment when they won that game. They got the tournament winning point. Oh yeah, and not tournament winning point, but match winning point. And man, the tears were there. It was amazing. I shout out to the Rome Premier Padel Rome TikTok for making the most emotional paddle edits. I live for those. Those are really fun.
They were cool.
But yeah, man, what a game, dude.
Seriously, what a game. What a tournament for them. Just if you guys don't know, Fran Guerrero and Javi Leal are really good friends. They've known each other for literally years.
They have an old partnership.
Yeah, they've been playing together since they were I'm not even kidding, 10.
Damn, man.
They were the pair, one of the pairs to watch out for when they were in minors.
Yeah.
And when they won the World Cup together, the minors paddle World Cup.
Under 18 or?
Yeah, I think I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure they played under 14s, under 16s, and under 18s.
Okay, so they have a whole career
they've got loads of lore together.
Okay, I like that.
They've got a big history, and now they're playing together again. They beat Dineno Tello 7-6. 6-2 in the round of 16.
Yeah, okay.
Exactly, yeah. And then they beat Coqui Yanguas in what is probably for me, game of the tournament.
Yeah, I think so as well.
On the quarterfinal, 6-4, 4-6, 7-5. It was
amazing. It was it wasn't chaotic in a bad way, but it was just insane seeing Leal run around like an absolute madman.
He's so physical. He's such a physical player.
Plus his smash is incredible as well. Really, that really was just the finisher.
Very he feels like a very explosive.
Who do you think
player.
was the MVP out of the two though?
Hard to say because maybe I'm a bit biased, but because Fran Guerrero, because he plays on the forehand, and he's got Fran Guerrero's kind of like a Edu Alonso kind of style of player. where I don't feel they're not Livac and they're not Chingo and Dineno. I'm talking in terms of play style. They're like a bit in between where they're aggressive. They're aggressive forehands. They've got really good defense as well. They've got amazing víboras on down the cross court. And then they push the net really well as well. And they've both got, I mean, we didn't see a lot from him this tournament, but I've watched Fran Guerrero play like many times, and he does have a really good smash as well, even from the forehand. But obviously, Javi Leal took that responsibility.
He was just sweeping it up, man. It was amazing, dude. Honestly.
So I mean, maybe Leal, MVP.
I think
from the
so.
offensive point of
for me too.
view.
I mean, gosh, Guerrero was he did his points, setting up the point, building up the point, and letting Leal finish it off like that. Incredible.
They're also like 21, 22.
Yeah, they're young guys, man. Yeah. No, honestly, and it hyped me up watching them play basically, and I was like, this is so sick, and it's such a huge moment for them.
Yeah.
If we flip it over to Koki and Yanguas' side as well. For me, it's harsh calling them the loser of the tournament, but like whatever the opposite of an MVP is, the most useless player on the court. I mean, not useless, but Koki. I feel bad. We have his racket here, so I don't want to chat shit about him that much.
No. I mean, he's amazing, but I mean, players have good.
He crumbled. Koki crumbled, bro.
Yeah.
He wasn't cooking today. He wasn't.
Cooking.
And went to tiebreak, I think, in the last set, man, and it was just like absolute. They checked out. Not that I care that much about like bad sportsmanship or anything, but when it was their game to win, Koki Yanguas, and on paper, and when they also were aware that it was a huge game for Leal and Gurrero, but they were just like, let's walk off the court, grab our bags, and let's get out of here.
And
man.
I don't know if you saw that as well. There was a bit of a misunderstanding, conflict between Yanguas and Fran Guerrero. Yanguas being Mike Yanguas, who is also a bit of he can be a bit of someone who likes to stir shit up.
Yeah, okay.
Let's leave it at that.
Because when he stayed at the net, right?
Yeah, so there was a smash from either maybe Koki smashed it, Fran Guerrero goes to the net to dunk it.
Yeah.
It's pretty comfortable for him. And Yanguas is like,
he's like, let me just stand there.
A foot away from him, putting his racket like in his face, which could be dangerous.
Yeah.
And it's just like invasion of space, basically, for Guerrero to pop it out.
A bit of foul play, maybe.
Yeah, and Guerrero got a bit annoyed. And actually, Yanguas then, he went on social media and he apologized for that.
I think in the heat of the moment, man, you're going to try to do anything.
He always does. But
I can't imagine, touch wood, man. I never want to feel getting swung in the face by a racket, man. Like that would hurt so fucking much.
To the like.
I mean, I've hit myself with my own racket before, and I feel like
I hit my shins
idiot.
all the time when I smash.
Have you ever hit your head with your racket?
No,
I've done it. I've done it twice, bro, and this is like the worst technique, dude. It's when it's bad technique. How do you hit yourself head with your racket?
Yeah,
it's when you play off the back glass, bro.
Okay,
and you try and go under so you get that ball high on the top of the glass. And I just see my hand keep coming towards me, dude, and it's right
forehead.
here. Yeah, exactly. And it definitely doesn't feel good. That's for sure. Yeah. So. Watch out for that when you play off the glass on the back. That's where I seem to be my own enemy there. And never want to get hit in the face with a racket, which is just...
that would be terrible.
No good vibes. Obviously, Mike Yanguas doesn't really care that much, but he's there for it, man. But we
got Guerrero and Leal making their mark. We also found... What else, Connor? We got...
Cardona, Augsburger.
The Smash Boys.
They weren't smashing. They weren't smashing.
Why? Because they weren't...
getting lobbed.
They weren't getting lobbed, which... So this is kind of like a highlight as well, I guess.
Yeah.
Props to Campagnolo Chacher, who also played a good tournament, who eliminated the Smash Boys from the tournament.
Round 32.
7-6, 7-5, like a pretty tight game. But I mean, I don't know if you saw like highlights and stuff. But I mean, these guys, especially Chacher, they were just smacking balls into their volleys, into their bodies as well. Very few, only lobbing when they knew it could be a very good lob, and also basically loading lobs on Cardona and on his right shoulder. So
Hugh showed me a great example, and we should play the clip here as well. But it's like when they're pressed up against the net, it's like not the right thing to do is, but go for the lob, push them back so you get the net.
But you can't really
it was
do
like,
that.
nah, we're not moving. We're not doing anything. And let's play flat shot until they break, basically.
I mean, there's this clip, which if we find it, we'll play it here, of Chacher. Basically, it's like 6 or 7 backhands. He's like at the back of the court.
Yeah.
And he's just hitting them so quick and fast to Augsburger, who's on the net on the diagonal.
Like he had time to lob.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Just like,
on a normal game, let's say,
yeah,
3 or 4 out of those 7 backhands would have been lobs because they're comfortable enough for him to lob properly. But he wasn't doing it, knowing that, which is a very good tactic, you know. And then he has this incredible, like one of the best backhands of the tournament, where he just like finds a perfect angle and speed to basically catch Augsburger off guard a little bit and get that winner.
In terms of like you know, how to unlock or break Carberger, right? You know, to me that's like a massive flaw in their play style, right? Like,
absolutely.
Yeah, but it's also just like, it's not even that, you know, I'm saying this as like a, you know, amateur play, but it's not even that like technically advanced though. It's like you just play flat and let them make the mistake. And it's kind of like, okay, you guys need to have like a, it's like they didn't come up with a tactic of like, okay, they're not lobbing us, they don't want it to smash, like what are we going to do now?
And also you have to like counter train, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Because once you've established yourself as, okay, yeah, we've both got massive smashes, so obviously opponents will not play these lobs, or they will play really well placed lobs or difficult lobs for us to smash. Okay, then like we have to counter that with something else. So if we're at the net, let's train our volleys differently. Let's try and find, you know, it's like a chess game.
Yeah, exactly,
kind of thing,
exactly.
Right? And it does feel like, yeah, I mean, Campagnolo Sacher did really well and not letting them play the way that they wanted to, and not letting them suffocate you, which is what they do.
Well, they did.
They give you no time to think, and if they're at the net, they try and suffocate you there with like really quick, short, sliced volleys, which, I mean, some of them were effective, but you know,
and you know, that's kind of it, and that's how you end up getting knocked out of round 32 super early on courts, you know, to be honest, which weren't that slow.
If you play during the day, especially the beginning of the tournament before games started being played, like when the sun was down, courts were pretty fast.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a shame for Carberger. They need to go back to the laboratory and you know, work out their kinks.
Yeah.
You know, we got a couple more points here as well that we're gonna go on to. We got a debut. And yeah, the last couple of points from our highlight list here, we also have a debut from Sara Errani, right?
Yeah.
So a little bit, you know, for those who don't know who she is, she's a beast in the doubles tennis world, right? Yeah. She's a professional tennis player.
Number 6 in doubles female tennis.
And 3 days before this tournament, she won Roland Garros in the doubles.
Women's doubles and mixed doubles, which is crazy.
Yeah, and she's like, you know what, 3 days, instead of taking a break now, let's go enter Rome Major, and let's see how that goes
She got a wild card.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And she's playing at home as well. She's an Italian player. You know, I think there's a lot of like hype for that as well. So we kind of wanted to shout her out, and it's always cool. And maybe this is something that we'll see more often, right? You know, okay, yeah, in the mixed doubles world, in the doubles world, you know, she's up there in, you know, the top 5 ranking, right? But as a singles player as well, she's a little bit further down the ranking list. Yeah. But you know, I am curious if more sort of tennis players at that level, maybe not even tennis, but squash players and or badminton or whatever, like will come and like sort of transfer over to paddle, and even if they just try it out. I don't know if she made it that far into.
No, she did. I mean, she's 242 now in her ranking.
She got a 200 just playing this tournament though. Her FIP ranking did go up 200
just
as well.
Because of the points, she got like a few. She got like 40 something points, I think, which is a lot in terms of if you go down the ranking, right?
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, it's she obviously being a doubles tennis player has a lot of the shots and stuff, but watching her, you could tell obviously her positioning was a bit awkward at times.
Yeah.
Like, you know, she's having to move to a much smaller court where it's like there's glass everywhere and the rebounds and stuff. You kind of have to get used to that.
And it's not like she was training a bunch of paddle before. She was sweeping up at Roland Garros. And she's like, all right, let's hop on a flight to Rome right now.
She doesn't have a lot of slice on her shots, which makes it sort of, I guess, her volleys aren't that effective, and also her overheads.
Yeah.
are easier to return from the opponents because they just bounce off the glass comfortably.
I'm curious to see if if she continues playing and if that her style sort of adapts and changes over time and everything like that. If she finds a new partner as well, but yeah, we thought that was pretty cool as well. So that's
that's just a little something to also
a notable mention.
Yeah, notable mention from the tournament.
Another notable mention is a semi-final game that we want to dip into a little bit before we get into our finals, basically. But
the big rivalry of paddle, right?
Yeah,
I mean the individual rivalry of paddle, not the Classico, but
the Galán Lebron bloodbath, if you want to call it that.
Exactly.
Where they met, Chingalan, Stupa Lebron, semi-final game, crazy outcome.
One of the best games of the tournament as well, definitely.
Yes. Yeah, I mean taking it 6-4, 6-7, 2-6.
Yeah. So I mean, to be fair, the first set,
it was kind of like run me through it, Hugh. How did it feel watching it? Like
the first set was probably the best I've seen Lebron Stupa play, especially going up against two beasts like the number 2s.
Yeah.
I think Lebron was playing impeccably. I think I was sort of halfway into the game, like first set done and like a few games played of the second set, LeBron had made like 3 unforced errors.
Yeah, which
is
incredible,
crazy. Yeah? Stupa was playing incredible. His rulos, he was like, they were locked in. They were super motivated, and you could see that Chingalan were kind of getting.
They were calculating a little bit. Like,
and
they were.
It was like they were on the back foot. Lebron and Stupa were pushing, taking the first set 6-4, which is like a big achievement. I mean, we have to, I think, also mention there were a lot of mistakes from Chingo, which is unusual.
Because as opposed to his performance in the finals,
exactly.
which, obviously we'll get into, but he was very much locked in for that.
Yeah.
Bit inconsistent in the semis.
Bit inconsistent, but I mean, look, I think it was really high level from Stupa Lebron.
Yeah.
Problem was that, especially for Stupa, because Lebron, I think, is more capable of doing that, but for Stupa, I think it was just hard to maintain that level.
And where did they drop off exactly after they lost that tiebreak in the second set?
Where they dropped off significantly was after losing the second set on a tiebreak. They just clocked out. I guess Chingalan were also on the high from winning that second set.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think, we have to mention again, it's
always pretty tough as well. Just like I even though it's like the basic structure of, scoring points in like a tennis format as well, like this, like, if you were to lose the first set, but win the second set to go into a third, that confidence shifts it goes in your favor so much.
Mentally, it's really, really taxing.
Winning the first set, losing the second set is like,
especially on a tie break, which could be like for 1 or 2 points where you just make a mistake.
Yeah.
And that's it. It's not a game. It's an entire set.
Yeah.
Then now you have to go into a third set again.
It's brutal, man. So they kind of went there with it. Was it also down to sort of like the on-court vibes, if you want to call it that?
I mean, it's what I was going to say. I think we have to mention again, it wasn't anything crazy because, I mean, we've seen a lot worse.
We've seen worse,
We've seen a lot worse, but Juan Lebron, again, I mean, even when they were winning, it's great, and he's still very intense, but I guess that's fine, and that's what you need from a professional athlete and a sport like paddle. You need someone like that. But as soon as there's like a little bit of inconsistencies, a few mistakes or whatever, he kind of loses it, man.
Yeah, he does.
And he gets intense in a way that's not beneficial to the team and for Stupa. Like,
dude, I don't know if it's maybe we're softies. I don't know, man. But just seeing like even his his body language and his face, it just gives me, dude. If it's like if we did this podcast together and you're speaking, I'm just like. Yeah. No, I don't know about that, man.
Yeah,
it's like, what the fuck are you doing, man? Like, come on, like we're here.
We're a team. We're supposed to do this together, Yeah.
And it's always this thing where it's like this trope of like, okay, well, you guys clearly don't know like, how LeBron is. LeBron's LeBron, but it's also like
I know it's his
LeBron can change, man.
It's his personality, and I understand that players like Paquito, like Juan Lebron, that is part of who they are. That's the players they are, and 100% agree.
Yeah.
They kind of need that for their, like, when they play their best is when sort of like they're against the ropes, when they're allowed to, like, it's when Paquito, when he takes out the guitar,
yeah,
when he starts doing trick shots and when he starts playing however he wants, that's when he goes up.
Yeah.
That's when his level truly shows. Same, but there's a limit to when that starts being detrimental to your partner. We saw Paquito as well. Bergamini kind of having to deal with Paquito being a bit
hot-headed.
Hot-headed as well. And it just, again, Lebron is the only player in the entire tour who speaks more on the benches in the breaks than his coach. You watch the breaks, you see any other players. Obviously, everyone talks, and when a player has something to say, they say it. But most of the time, it's Lebron speaking.
Yeah.
They say something to him, the Pochoni, the coach, he's like trying to say something, and Lebron's like, but not quite. Stupa, let's do this, let's do that, because I think that this and that. And it's great to have input as a player. Obviously, it's not the coach telling them what to do. It's a three-way conversation, obviously. But it comes to a point where
it doesn't feel like a three-way conversation.
That's the thing. It doesn't feel like it feels like a completely one-sided thing, where Stupa's like trying to get a word in, so is the coach, and Lebron's like shutting them down. I don't know, man.
No, literally, because if you go back, maybe was it in Buenos Aires or in Asunción? But like
the last one,
it was where like Stupa was like he was not playing well at all. And to have like their coach stand in front of them, but also LeBron on their left as well, kind of just like hounding Stupa. It's like this is surely not useful at all, man. So yeah, it is that mental shift, and it's kind of like even for to see your opponents go through that as well, through the eyes of Chingalan.
Yeah.
They obviously maybe they know them much better as well, but it's kind of like, okay, LeBron's cracking right now. Let's go. It kind of puts more confidence on their behalf as well, man. So it's like, the more that you show and put on the court, I kind of like that though, that you're
it's
like,
a mental game as well.
You're not vulnerable, but you're open to be like, okay, I'm frustrated. Let's leave it on the court. But really, it's like you're giving ammunition away as well. Like,
I mean, and that's what I was gonna say. Sort of like for me, what determined this semifinals was that mentality.
Yeah.
It came down to a mental game. At the end, you've got Chingalan, who all they do is support each other.
Yes.
When one's playing not so great, the other one picks him up. They talk, they work as a team.
Yeah.
They never blame each other. They don't do faces. They don't make comments.
Hell yeah, dude.
All they do is support. And obviously, a pair like that, even if they're evenly matched in terms of, paddle wise and play style wise, that's what they gave him to. It was a 6-2 for Chingalan at the last set.
Yeah, they sweeped it up.
They were completely crumbled. You see, for me as well, maybe it's because of LeBron. I don't know, but to me also, Stupa, it just seems to me that sometimes you can just completely switch off.
Yeah,
mentally.
Yeah.
And he's just got this like poker face, like as if he doesn't really care that he's
like 1,000-yard stare. He's just like,
well, yeah, or like he misses
right
a shot and he's like, and it's like, yeah, dude, you're seeing this is the 5th time you've smashed into the net. It's clearly not working.
It's deuce and it's our serve, man.
So it's a lack of chemistry and communication between Stupa and Lebron that gave Chingalan for me the upper hand in the end.
I mean, if we ride off this as well, can we just say the vibes at Camp Chingalan seem incredible right now as well?
Yeah, and they've always been, man.
Yeah,
they've always been, but right now, obviously.
I feel like they've had to not even necessarily prove it to people, but I think really, in the rough moments earlier in the season as well, not that there's a lot of speculation, but people like to think a little bit about the future and if this is like the beginning of a downhill moment, and I think maybe there wasn't a lot of belief behind Chingotto. If you want to put him up on the chopping block after a few pretty mid performances, but really I think they almost had to prove to the world of paddle fans that guys, look, we're good, the chemistry's here, it seems like they actually have love for each other, which is kind of crazy, 100%, man.
100%.
It's and it's like they wear their heart on their sleeve situation, and they need to, which is maybe we don't see a lot of other pairings. From what I'm seeing, that really kind of go into this a more than just a professional partnership, or you were speaking about Leal and Guerrero, playing since the age of 10. There's something where Chingalan play with so much passion as well, and that's what we like to see. Seems the word isn't even wholesome, but it's I don't know, man. The chemistry just seems impenetrable at the moment through wins and losses.
I've never seen them say a bad word at each other, even when stakes are super high. They both admit to their own faults.
Yeah.
the other person will never say, the other person will have constructive feedback to give instead of shutting them down. They keep, mentally there. And yes, Galán can go sometimes mentally, but Chingo will never take that out on him. And they just work as a team. And we have to remember, like, a sport like paddle, like tennis, sports that are where the point system and the way they are played is, with this sets, and it's not a time limit sport. It's a whoever gets there first wins, basically. Exactly. Mentally, it's really taxing, and it's a mentality side of it is, I would say, honestly, it's like 50-50.
Yeah, 100%.
It's physicality and technique and skill and
the
talent,
mental pressures.
But then you've got a whole other side of it, which is mental and emotional, which is super important as well. Look at Stupa Lebron winning the first one 6-4. They're up. They're good. They're great.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's sick when that's going on. When a pairing's got, like, they're on the up, great. Obviously, they're going to be happy.
Yeah.
Whatever, playing well, haha, all great.
The moment it shifts.
But I mean, or maybe not. If you're amazing and it never shifts, then great for you. But it's very likely, as we saw here, that you're going to go a set down, or that they're going to break your serve, or that you're going to need to, all that energy you had from winning and playing well, you're going to have to redirect it into lifting the team up again, lifting your teammate up.
Which is difficult, man. Like, it is really difficult to be able to have that, like, extra, what's the word, like, power or extra, mental ability just to keep cool in moments like that.
I personally, I really struggle with that. Mentally, I don't think I'm really strong in terms of playing paddle, you know. I get really frustrated, and I usually,
I'm like, yes. Yeah.
No, but you know what I mean, right? I mean,
yeah.
you've seen it, and I'm no LeBron by no means, I'm not like that, but I do get, and it's usually has nothing to do with my partner.
No.
It's always about myself usually.
No.
But yeah, like, I mean, like, you guys also let us know, like,
it's true.
What do you think? I think this is a very interesting conversation.
I feel like one pairing I do want to reference here in moments like that just seemed like so streamlined and cool is Ari Sanchez and Paula Jose Maria, because in moments like that, these are huge games. I mean, they lost the finals this tournament, but it's like simple unforced errors or anything like that they they hit the ball into the net. I do appreciate that I can see them smile at each other after that, because they were like, yeah, that was a shit shot or whatever. I don't actually know what they're saying, but I appreciate that. And, even to put it on a personal thing, I think like 2 months ago, or not even 2 months, like a while ago, like 6 months ago, you find yourself leaving the paddle court, like, feeling a little too frustrated. Like, there's one thing losing, sure, not having a great game, not showing up. And it was just one of those things, man. It's like, I had to say to myself, it's like, win or loss, man, we're out here paying London prices for courts here. I'm not.
It's about having, like, you do it because it's fun.
Yeah, exactly.
It's supposed to be fun.
So I said to myself, it's like, win or lose, man. Like, I need to be able to, like, have a smile on my face to some degree. 100%. So, you try carry that. Easier said than done. We'll give you that. Yeah. But yeah, look, that's our highlights, actually, guys.
Yeah.
That was a bit of a chunky one. I mean, it's a juicy tournament.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to talk about.
We also just want to dip into the finals, which we're going to do now, actually.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Now we've made it to the segment of the episode where we dive into the games a little bit. We want to cover the men's and women's final.
Yes.
We're going to start with the women's first.
Yeah.
Let's start. We had Ari Sanchez, Paula Jose Maria versus Gemma Triay.
Yeah, the Classico of
and Delfi Brea,
of the women's.
Yeah.
I mean, it was 2 Classicos for men's and women's, and it was the tournament for the underdogs, the number 2s, if you want to call it that way.
I mean, at this point, it's hard to call them that because it seems like every tournament now.
It's not really the underdogs, but yeah, it was. Let's say that the number 2s shined.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah, exactly. Which if you look at Sanchez and Jose Maria's road to the final, it wasn't necessarily like they had like a tough time. I think it sounded like they just kind of like stumbled into the finals and they were like, we're here now. Yeah. Like let's play a little bit.
Yeah.
So that gave me the impression that they would have, a lot of, reserve energy left over. Yeah. They weren't pressed. They weren't in like tough conditions.
Yeah.
They're going up against Gemma Triay and Delfi Brea. I don't know why. I had a feeling in my stomach at the beginning of the game that it was Ari's game and Paula's game.
Me too.
I thought it would go to the 3 sets as well.
Yeah.
we got the complete opposite.
It was complete opposite. Yeah.
Triai and Delphi's game. You know, at the beginning of the game, Delphi was, you know, out of a lot of the players that we watch, you can see it in her eyes a little bit that she's like, come on, can this kick in? Can I lock in? Let's dial in. And that's really at the beginning when I was like, okay, this is, you know, at least the first set's going to be Sanchez, Jose Maria. And there is some point where it's almost like Delphi switched on, Ari switched off.
Yeah.
And it kind of just like skewed like that. And that kind of echoes like, you know, a lot of the game. But I think really, as we say most times when we talk about Gemma and Delphi, Gemma Triai, man. Dude, she's like a cyborg, winter soldier, warrior, man.
Incredible.
She's come back.
She is incredible.
Already, you know, previously in her career being ranked number 1 with Salazar.
Now she's back.
Now she's back again.
Yeah.
With Delphi.
Yeah.
You know, individually, back number 1.
And also, I think we should mention, sorry to interrupt.
Don't worry.
I guess let's, major points are 2,000 for winners. 1,200 for finalists.
Yes.
And then we've got 47 grand each.
Yeah,
on the line for the winners. So in this tournament, did Gemma go? Is she back at number 1?
Individually, yes.
Individually,
she's back
yes.
at number 1.
And Delphi has surpassed Claudia Fernandez on the number 4. So officially, the 4 top players in the world, same as the men's now, are all together there. And it's the 2.
It's a Triai Brea's sandwich.
Yeah.
You know.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you got Ari Sanchez and Paula Jose Maria in the middle, 2 and 3.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean the pressure's slowly going on there, man. Like I say slowly, but it's happening fast actually.
Yeah.
And yeah, it just seems like Gemma Triai is so hungry, man.
Yeah.
And she has Delphi on her side supporting her like this.
I think that's the thing. I think it's the combination of Gemma clearly being the MVP in this final for me.
Honestly.
Her, I guess, just pure talent, technique, just the way she plays, combined with the intelligence of Delphi. Delphi is such an intelligent player that really knows how to break down a match, a game, and I think that combo, apart from obviously Delphi being an incredibly talented player as well, but she's from an intellectual point of view, I think that's Delphi's strength. She's incredible. So that combo really makes them.
They're dream pairing.
Yeah.
You know, I think also just to add on to that, and what I've kind of realized seeing Gemma play, maybe not. I mean, I'll just say it for this year alone, especially. But for a player that's not new to the paddle scene at all, she has her stripes that she's earned.
Mm-hmm.
It really feels like she's not only adapting to like the newer wave of playing more aggressive paddle, which is also changing for men's as well, but even so much more for the style of like women's paddle as well. And, especially going up against, Jose Maria and Ari Sanchez. Okay, out of those 2 players, you'll probably see Jose Maria go for a smash a little bit more frequently than Ari Sanchez. But seeing Gemma Triai just pop the ball out of the court, hit a Portres, like it's just like, okay, the aggression is there. And it's something that it felt like in this game specifically, Sanchez and Jose Maria didn't even have that in their arsenal. Man. So yeah, it was insane. I mean, she kind of capitalized on the lobs that they were giving her as well.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, I think that was one of the. If we want to get into like, I guess, game analysis,
let's get into it.
First of all, I think we had quite a few Gemma's bajada de pared. So her bajadas, I think, were really good. A shot that apparently she learnt how to do quite recently, and it took her like a year to learn how to master it. This is I'm not obviously saying this is words that I took from Rodrigo Vide, her coach. She's got a plethora of shots, but apparently the bajada was one that she was struggling with, and that she would always hit a lob off the glass.
Safer
so
thing to do.
Now she's obviously not now, but for a while now she's mastered it. We saw loads of bajadas from Gemma splitting down the middle and confusing Ari and Paula a lot. And as you were saying as well, we'll get into it as well for the men's, but it was poor lobbing from the number 1s. They weren't pushing them back as much as they should have. And from Delphi and Gemma's side, the lob on Ari's right shoulder worked really well to push them back. It was something that they tactically spoke about in the benches as well. To not let, because Ari's got a really good, I I guess, angled overhead. If you give her the chance to play that gancho or that rulo towards the side glass or the mesh, she's pretty good with that. But just adjusting the lob so it's not down the middle enough so that Jose Maria can take it, but just a bit more on the forehand side so that Ari has to take it, but she doesn't have an angle to play it, which was cool to see. And to me, I don't know what you think, but it really felt like Ari and Paula were just not at the net. They just And when they did win it, they lost it pretty quickly as well.
I mean, I don't know if that's down to Gemma's overheads or even Delfi's overheads, just being able to keep them back and keeping them at the back of the court. But it does seem like even for players like Coello and Tapia, that is also like a moment where you can see how vulnerable they are.
Yeah.
When you notice players
they're human.
Exactly. When they're stuck at the back of the glass and they're hitting deep, the hybrid bandeja vibora shots and everything like that. Yeah, and they're trying to scoop them up and pick them up. Yeah. Which in that game as well, in this finals, like there were some returns from balls that seemed impossible to return, and their little flick to lift it up and get it back over the net was insane. But I saw them getting pressed so much, man. And as I said earlier, like about 10 minutes ago, the pressure doesn't seem to get to them, but obviously at the end of the day, the numbers are on the board. We kind of know that this was an easy win for Gemma and Delfi Brea, right? Like,
but they lost gracefully, the number ones. Absolutely.
Oh, dude, yeah. I mean, it's like they're still chilling. They're still sitting on like a healthy stack of points as well, so they're not in complete like jeopardy, and it's not like game over for them yet. And
it's a bit up and down,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I don't know if I really do like this whole like, Gemma is now number one individually again. Yeah. It's like, okay, guys, like let's chill. Okay, it's a huge moment as well, but like, how many times can this happen? Because now it's at this point where it's like
it might be like that for
it's neck and neck
tournaments to come. Yeah.
So I guess it's exciting, and it's a ranking at the end of the day. But we gotta cement this in a little bit deeper before flip flopping back, and now Ari Sanchez and Jose Maria are number one. But yeah, it was a juicy finals. Yeah. I mean, I say juicy. It was pretty like one-sided.
Yeah. There was one time, like just to add on to that, on the second set, it seemed like Ari and Paula could take a double break from 4-1 down that they were.
Yes.
To 4-4, but the number twos stepped up when it mattered most, and they basically consolidated the advantage they'd taken early on. So they were up 4-1. Delfi and Gemma, number ones, sort of stepped up. They could have gotten that 4-4 and do a double two breaks in a row.
Yeah,
but especially Delfi didn't let them do that, which was how they ended up getting the game in.
I mean, this is kind of what we want, right? At the end of the day, is like this rivalry that that doesn't have too much of a gap in skill, or it seems unfair. Yeah, exactly. So now these guys are in the moment where they're figuring out each other's kinks, depending on the external circumstances outside of just them as a pairing. Yeah. But even though they lost, they're going to come away with a new package of information of like here's how we went wrong. This is what went wrong basically for them. And that's just how it is. But I wasn't expecting it at all. Our predictions were very wrong at the beginning of the game, and they took it away 6-4, 6-4.
Yeah,
easy dub, nothing too insane. And that's just an amazing moment for Gemma and Delfi Brea, and they came out of it. And look, they picked up a major win. So it's a huge stack of points as well.
Yeah,
47,000 euros each.
Yeah.
The prize pool for this was not bad, man. €1 million. That's pretty juicy.
Pretty juicy, yeah.
Comparing to tennis, obviously, not.
But we're getting there slowly.
We're slowly getting there. We can thank Qatar Airways for that. I'm pretty sure they're the sole funders of this shit. But now we go into the men's
final, which, I mean, the biggest moment of the entire tournament, biggest moment of the year so far as well.
Yeah.
We saw finally, after 343 days and 9 finals in a row that they'd lost, we saw Chingalan finally beat the Golden Boys.
Huge moment.
2 sets, 6-3, 7-5, and Galán consolidating himself, crowning himself the king of Rome, or the emperor, if you want to call him that.
Emperors.
maybe more suitable, for Rome.
We've got to ask Mussolini what he wants.
Yeah. With 3 Italy major titles, 2022, 2024, and 2025.
Yeah, man.
Also, I guess, consolidating, not losing any points compared to 2024 for Chingalan. As you know, you have to defend last year's points. They crowned themselves champions in 2024. They did it again in 2025, which is like a really big moment for them.
Yeah.
So
in terms of points, it's more important for them to win this than Coello and Tapia, I think, a little bit. Or more pressure on them at least. So and they went and did it, man. But you know, if we get into it a little bit,
what were your vibes? Let me know your thoughts.
I mean, you know, our first thing is it goes to Coello and Tapia, which, you know, I don't want to take it away and say, you know, they didn't show up. Or, I mean, specifically Coello was not playing very well at all. But I also just think Chingotto and Galán individually were just on their A game.
MVP for you out of those two? It's tight, isn't it? It's tight,
because
man.
You know what? I think that I'll tell you this. I think the MVP should go to Chingotto. I'll be honest. But I want to give it to Galán.
Right.
Because watching Galán play this tournament as well, I know Hugh's been saying it to me, you know, over the last, you know, few months or for a while now. And, you know, you've been kind of pushing at this idea that maybe Galán is the #1 player in the world of paddle. Not to his ranking. Which, you know, at the end of the day defines his position. But really, it's so impressive watching a player like that play.
He's perfect.
He's got everything covered. Like, really, in terms of, you know, all of his shots that he pulls, where he should be, his mentality. Like, he's, like, honestly insane, man. And his smash is ridiculous as well. Like, you know, okay, obviously it gets lost a little bit in the worlds of, you know, Augsburger and Tapia and stuff like that. But, dude, like,
he's got so much more than a smash
exactly,
as well,
exactly. You know, literally, like, we look at Augsburger and Cardona getting knocked out in round 32, right? Their smash is their only ticket in. And if they don't have that smash, they're out. But Galán, paired with Chingotto as well, you know, I want to let them share the light as well, is just like, you know, these are moments when you go, okay, they're locked in. They're hungry. They're ready for it. And they kind of, you know, dominated Coello and Tapia, which feels nice to say, actually, dude. They dominated them.
They did.
Yeah, they slapped them up.
Yeah.
They fridged Tapia. They picked on Coello. And
knowing,
you know what?
knowing that he was a bit weaker that game, definitely, as you said, out of the 4 for me, also the worst player.
Yeah, 100%.
Which it's not a very common thing. We don't see that a lot from Coello, obviously.
No, we say the opposite normally, man. We're literally like, can this guy break for a second? This isn't funny anymore.
So we saw him making more mistakes, more errors. His smash wasn't there either. But yeah, as you said, I think Chingo MVP.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, it's a
team thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The complementation, is that a word?
Yeah, how they complement each other.
How they complemented each other was so on point.
Yeah.
The teamwork was so perfect. Chingo taking care of his things.
Yeah.
Galán taking care of his things, that they kind of both deserve it. So they could share the MVP.
True.
If we had to choose one, I would give it to Chingo because he played a basically impeccable game.
Perfect game, almost.
If we want to get into the nitty-gritty of it,
we
saw Fede using his bajada like perfectly.
Cross-court.
This time definitely was the weapon that Coello couldn't dominate, basically.
Yeah.
The stallion that couldn't be tamed, basically.
I mean, the guy that should be able to block everything.
Which he does so many times. But I feel like, there's two things. First of all, the communication between Chingalan was very good.
Yeah.
We always see, you know, it's the classic lob on Chingo on the volley or after serve so that Coello can push the net. Cross-court bajada from Chingo, which many times is blocked by Coello. Boom, they've got the net like that.
Exactly.
This time, two things. Chingo hit his overheads a lot more down the line towards Tapia.
Yeah.
Because even though Coello's up already, Tapia many times is still
Staying
at the
back.
back. He's not pushing with Coello at the same time.
Right.
To cover a bit more of the court. But this time, Chingo took advantage of that, which is something that I don't know why they haven't really done.
I mean, it's
in the past long. I think it's just because it's a trickier shot to play. Because if you're playing a bajada down the line,
right,
or a bajada bandeja down the line, from your own side, it has to kind of like hug the mesh and the wall a little bit. So it's a riskier shot.
I see.
Because otherwise it's easier either to intercept by Coello on the volley, or it's just an easier shot for Tapia to return.
I see.
But doing that so that they could at least not let the Golden Boys take the net so easily. And maybe it was on Coello's side, like Coello's fault, if you want to call it that way. But it felt like this time the blocks from Coello weren't there.
No.
Also because they were finding his feet a lot more.
Yeah, okay. I'll give you that.
Coello being 6 foot, whatever.
Just make him bend over, mate. Make him break his back.
Who's incredible and incredibly defensively, offensively. We all know Coello, probably obviously one of the best players in the world. But I feel like he just adjusted his bajada slightly so that it isn't so comfortable for Coello to block it like there on his like waist height or like lower. Chest height, but a bit lower. So he had
he's got to scoop them up almost.
Scoop it up a bit more of a chance of him hitting that block into the net.
Right. Yeah.
Which is something that so that worked really well.
I mean, in moments like this, it's also great to see like Chingalan take advantage of their poor performance in a way. You were just talking about how Coello's up at the net and Tapia's at the back. It didn't happen that often, but there were moments where I think it was Chingalan, not Chingalan. I think it was Chingotto just finishing by playing the ball down the middle in that split, which is like it's pretty silly for Coello to leave that gap, or even Tapia to leave that gap open, man. Because once that ball it gets played to near his feet and bounces just there, and then it's in the back glass basically, and it's like game over for you. That's a really, I think, a silly point to let go basically, and that's due to like bad positioning and everything like that. So it's like what's going on with these guys, and if they're earning, it didn't happen often as I said, but if they're earning points like that, it's like they're all over you, man, and it just it goes like that, and that's what kind of the game felt like as well. Really, 2-set game. I mean, against the big boys, the Golden Boys, man.
Speaking of like faults that Coello and Tapia had, again, we've mentioned it before, but I think obviously they're the number ones, they're impeccable, etc., etc. But the one thing that maybe they could work on a bit more, or at least in this final, it seemed to me that they were struggling with, is their lobs. They're not lobbing well, whereas Chingalan lobbed perfectly, avoiding the lob on Tapia especially, and lobbing Coello on his right shoulder, so he
can't get it good.
It's a bit more awkward for him to hit that smash. Basically gave Galán,
which is
all the smashes that he had, which were, they left so many awkward lobs, sort of not well placed either on Chingo, which should be easier to lob.
That's what I was gonna say.
And the ones that were tried to be on Galán's side or that were more down the middle, Galán just scooped them up and just attacked them.
It is odd when like even their lobs over Chingotto, who's like is notoriously like this one of the best smaller players on the circuit as well, and they're not even going for that opportunity. I do know that Chingotto's, he has to be on that level to cover with his vibors as we've been talking about, his cross courts and everything like that. But just to see them not use that exploit, and they were just like, no, this isn't it. So,
and that brings us to like predictability as well, as in like Chingo obviously knows that they're going to try and lob him. And at one point, Gus Prato, their coach on the benches for the Golden Boys, was saying Chingo's expecting it. He knows it's coming, and he's like anticipating your lob on him, and then he's punishing you with that bajada. Try and play the chiquita instead, so that you can gain the net that way, which they didn't do.
No.
They couldn't really find a way to play that chiquita to at least win the net that way, which was unfortunate for them. So I think lobs, Chingo's bajada, Galán smash, Tapia smash was there as well. He had quite a few that were crazy. But I mean, if we look at the stats, we've got 17 smashes from Galán in 2 sets, which is a very decent number compared to 6 by Tapia and 7 by Coello. So 13 smashes together, Coello and Tapia, some of the biggest smashers in the entire circuit, compared to 17 by Galán on his own.
There you go. I mean, 17's insane. 7, just as a sole player as well. Especially against Tapia and Coello. Maybe that's due to the lack of lobs, or the perfect lobs that Chingo and Galán were sending over. because normally, similar to, players like Augsburger as well, like, they should be sweeping them up, but to walk away with, 7 smash from Coello, 6 from Tapia was strange. I do have to say, I do love watching Tapia's insane smash when his back is literally touching the glass and he's still somehow getting it to ping off the wall and pop out the court.
Yeah.
That is insane. I'll give
crazy.
him that. But in a moment like that where you lose a game 6-3, 7-5, you had a tie break at the end, right?
Yeah. And they tried as well with Galán, with all these smashes that he was hitting. At one point, they were also like, tactically, let's try and lob Galán quickly on a quick ball instead of like a very arched lob. Let's try and play it quicker so that he at least doesn't have time to brush it. So that it doesn't give that pop effect. So that he hits it more flat. And now that the sun's down, the courts are slower, maybe we have a chance to then catch him off guard and dunk it, right? But yeah, they couldn't really do that. And I think this consolidates what we were saying about Chingo.
Right.
3 unforced errors in the entire match.
3. Wow. That's insane.
Like that's insane. One overhead to the net, and then like one, I think he smacked a very easy smash straight to the middle of the glass. That was pretty funny to watch. And then some other, but I mean, this just goes to show that the numbers are there.
My brain's a little bit like impeccable. 3 unforced errors in a whole game against the best players in the world as well, it's insane actually.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a game for them, wasn't it, man? Yeah. For Chingotto and Galán, they both showed up today. Yeah. It felt like it wasn't, which is a narrative we've heard like, earlier in the season as well, where it's either, Galán was playing well one day and Chingo wasn't, or Chingo was playing well and Galán wasn't. Like
normally the golden boys are there, but this is what I wanted to ask as well.
Yeah.
Coello Tapia they didn't really show up in terms of attitude-wise in the entire game.
They weren't. Didn't feel hyped up.
Did
you
feel that as well?
Yeah, it was like they were flat. You know what I mean? When watching them, there was no. Even though they're trailing a little bit, maybe they're down on the first set, there was no pressure. Like, come on, let's hype each other up. It was kind of like, oh, we're here. Like, let's just like
I feel like they didn't really want it. Whereas Galán felt like but especially Galán really, really wanted it, and you could show, and you could see from the attitude that he showed on court, and I
mean that would have been maybe a little bit nicer. I mean, look, we heard the numbers, 343 days without beating them. Mm-hmm. I think it's been enough time for Chingalan to take the dub on this one. But if I wanted to be extra picky, it would be nice to see Coello and Tapia put a little bit more pressure.
The thing is, a third set would have been great.
Exactly.
I agree. I think a third set would have gone to Coello Tapia.
Yeah, fuck.
Seeing, looking at the history. But yeah, it would have been.
It would have been nice. A little bit more. Add a little bit more spice.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I agree. Yeah, I know what you mean.
So I don't want to take anything away from Chingo and Galán because they had the game. Not of their life, maybe of their lives, but they showed up and they played and they did exactly what they needed to do and they did it.
And I think also, just to like finish, another thing we should highlight of this final was the capability of break points are and breaking serve is such a big part of the sport.
Yeah,
they found that break on the first set, which is already a massive achievement. Playing against the Golden Boys, and then in the second set. We had a we had a break to break.
Okay.
So we had that's when I was like,
this is getting crazy. This could go any other way.
We had Coello Tapia breaking Chingalan at a crucial moment in the second set. I think it was maybe like I think they were 4-2 up or something. And then immediately after, the reaction from the number 2s breaking back.
They're not. No. We're gonna cancel that out.
Basically,
right now.
canceling out the advantage and the pressure that they.
No, they had it. They showed up and they took the dub. They got a major, So like that's which I think Let's not forget that a lot of these tournaments kind of feel like they blend together a little bit because we see the same players playing in them, but the stakes are much higher. Which comes with better rewards they got to defend their title again here. So
and before we finish, I wanted to ask you about do you see the point of the tournament? Yeah,
it was just an insane moment, really.
So it's
we have it up here. You guys have it up here. Sorry if you're an audio viewer, but
1 second. We've got. It was the second set. It was 2-2.
Yeah.
We've got a lob from Chingo. Decent smash from Coello.
Yeah.
Galán
somehow touches
it, just gets there. He feels like he brushes the ball like that. So we've got both players on the right-hand side of the court, leaving Tapia a very sort of easy ball. Not easy, but a comfortable ball to return. Returns it cross-court how he can.
And look, if you saw where Chingo was as well, just before that Tapia made a touch on that, to put that on the other side of the court, and let's see how he picks this up.
His feet are.
It's insane.
Runs as he can, picks it up with
backhand lob.
Backhand lob. I mean, which isn't
Is that a back? Yeah.
It's not a good lob, obviously, because it's like a super uncomfortable position.
But no, this is when Chingo's on fire, because look, like I think this is the moment.
He's at the back of the court.
And he goes, he hits the salida like
he goes into the glass. Tapia with a massive smash, and Chingo quickly, boom. Hits it right in the net. Yeah,
in the net.
Massive.
I think that was like an insane point to watch. And I think, because it is up against Coello and Tapia, normally it's the other way around, right? Where they're pulling off some insane magic, if you want to call it that. But I don't know, man. When I was watching that, I was like, this is insane. We won't review it, but there was also another insane point as well. I think there were two amazing points, but this one in particular, was our tournament winning point. And yes, and we have, go for it.
Cut this out if you need to, but because I paused it, is that going to be awkward to play the clip? Should we do one where we just play it through?
No, I think it's fine. Okay,
cool.
Yeah. And also just on our last little note here, which is fun, it's just hypothetical completely, but look.
Please.
Don't shoot us.
Don't shoot us, yeah.
But look, it is interesting, sort of open discussion, right? This is never going to happen anytime soon.
No.
But it's a fun one, huh?
Yeah.
So, look. We watched Coello and Tapia flatline a little bit, obviously because maybe we're bloodthirsty parasites. We do think it's a fun question to ask. If or when...
Also for you guys. Listen up.
If or when the Golden Boys split up, Coello and Tapia split up, who are they playing with? Because it's like they have this golden phone where they can literally call anyone.
That's what I was going to say. Obviously, anyone's going to want to play with Coello and anyone's going to play with Tapia.
I want to know who you think would be a great pairing for both of them.
In my opinion.
And I really don't think it's that long of a list of people that they can pick and choose from.
I think... I
want to hear it.
I think that... Let's start with Tapia.
Yeah.
Tapia, obviously.
Left side player.
One of the best, if not the best, left-hand side player in the world. I feel like Tapia Lebron, from a purely tactical, strategic, paddleistic point of view, I feel like that would be insane. They would last a game and a half.
Yeah. Honestly, Tapia is way too nice.
Way too nice, and I think their chemistry would be terrible. And also, I think they actually don't get along that well as rivals. I don't think they've got that much of a relationship going.
No, I don't think so.
But I think it would be crazy because I think
it would be insane.
Individually, I think Lebron is top 3.
I'm going to agree with you on this as well.
If
this
obviously
is a joint decision.
This is a team sport, so you have to take into account a pair.
Yeah.
But if we're looking at individual talent and skill, I think Lebron is up there.
Tapia Lebron just feels wrong in every way. Yeah. But
but it could be fun to see in a parallel universe.
Literally.
Yeah. Which takes us to
Coello.
Do you agree with that?
I agree with it as well. Just because I actually think this question is like harder to fill in that space, really, because who's really worthy to replace Coello at the end of the day?
Yeah.
I really don't think
Chingo. I mean, they played. These guys would have chemistry. They are good friends, and they've played together in the World Cup, and they actually beat.
But would it feel like
Lebron in the World Cup?
We're gonna get killed. Would it feel like an upgrade or a downgrade?
Wait,
if Coello and Tapia split up and Tapia played with Chingo,
it's a downgrade, obviously. But the thing is, there's no real upgrade. I feel like for Tapia.
Okay, for Tapia, but when you look on the other side of the court, if you got rid of Tapia,
the thing is, it's hard to talk about upgrades and downgrades here because we're talking about the number ones. They're obviously incredible. Replacing Coello is like obviously a super dumb decision that won't happen. Any upgrade or downgrade.
Yes.
Like there is no upgrade or downgrade. It's hard to talk about because like if you're talking about Tapia and Coello, they're the number ones. If they played with Chingo, he would add something else. If he played with Lebron, it would add something else. You know, it's like it's difficult.
Very hard to say upgrade, downgrade, especially when they're number ones already. And we're literally like speculating on a nonsensical thing. There's no reason to speculate, but you know, just because these guys are such like valuable, you know, assets to the sport, you know, everyone would want to play with them. Yeah, it would be fun to think about, but you know, that's enough of us speculating on Coello and Tapia like that.
But, we have to talk about Coello though.
We didn't do Coello.
No, we didn't do Coello.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
So who would replace Tapia in this hypothetical scenario?
We both agree.
It has to be
Galán.
Alejandro Galán.
Galán
which would be mad.
Yeah.
It would be mental to see Coello and Galán play together.
Unstoppable, man. Yeah. Like really, on a whole other level compared to Tapia. You know what I mean?
I don't know if it would be better, worse. Galán would add some things that Tapia doesn't have. Tapia would add some things that Galán doesn't have. It would still be really fun.
It would be insane, dude. Yeah. Maybe I'll be confident enough to say that I do feel like Galán is more well-rounded than Tapia.
I think he's a more complete player in that sense, but then you have to think about little details like chemistry and whatever, which the Golden Boys have to a T.
Yeah, they're so locked in at the moment.
But it would be fun to see. Hopefully, in the next World Cup or Intercontinental Cup, we see Galán and Coello playing together for a match. We didn't see it last year.
I don't know why. Yeah, they didn't pair them together.
It would have.
I think they got to spread their
too much
top
talent
players. Yeah,
and within the Spanish.
We give them that
nationality. It's too much talent if you put them together. You know?
But that's an easy one for
I
just
think
to see Coello and Galán play together.
The fear of God into any rivals they literally,
man.
It would be mental.
Yeah, just rocking up to the tournament and just seeing you're playing Galán and Coello in like qualifying rounds or whatever.
Sick. You've got like a wild card.
Yeah, exactly, dude. It's like here we are.
Two Paraguayan
exactly.
players like
Coello, Galán, perfect. Do we even come? Is there any point of us arriving now? Let's go. But I mean, it's just a fun one, really. You know, as
let us know what you guys think as well of this like little hypothetical debates.
Hopefully, we don't see this happen anytime soon.
It won't. It won't. It obviously won't. But it would be nice to hear your thoughts as well.
Yeah, we thought we'd rain on Coello and Tapia's parade a little bit. Just seeing them flatline in the finals of this tournament.
Yeah.
It did raise a little suspicion in my head. If they ever did split up, where would they go? Who would they call up and go from there? Obviously, as we said many times, just to protect ourselves, this is really not a thing or anything that's going to happen anytime soon. But it is interesting to see because you know what? At the rate that paddle players split up and change teammates and everything, obviously everything's great.
And at some point, I mean, unless they retire together, which I don't know,
get married,
but maybe in like 10 years time, when they're both sort of at the end-ish of their careers,
it's like
maybe
they're like mid-30s at that, like not even mid-30s.
But mid-30s isn't like your prime.
Yeah, that's true. There's literally like babies being born now in like 16
and
years.
And when they're at that age, there's going to be like a new school of paddle that's obviously going to be better than them.
Crazy.
But maybe they separate in the near, not in the far future.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Anyways, that was a fun little question to end the episode.
Yeah.
Please do let us know your thoughts, guys, on what you think the ideal teammates for either of these guys would be. But also reflecting on this amazing tournament that we had. Beautiful venue, amazing crowd, crazy turnout as well.
Mm-hmm.
Flattish finals, but you know what? We can't complain about that.
It's all good.
It's sport.
It's all good. Yeah.
And we did see Chingalan beat Coello and Tapia after like 343 day streak. So I think we got our fix a little bit. I hope you guys felt that too.
Yeah.
And thank you very much for watching, listening.
I hope you enjoyed the episode. Thanks for tuning in. Hit that subscribe button.
Yes, please.
Notification.
It helps a lot.
We might have some pretty different and interesting content coming your way. So this later this week, perchance we'll see
in the little break.
Yeah, so stay tuned for that. Thanks for joining, and we will see you on the next one.
Take care, guys.
Peace, guys.